Welcome, everyone. I'm Brittany. I'm a developer advocate at Contentful, and I'm here with two super awesome leaders of our engineering team. And we're going to talk about what it's like to work at engineering in Contentful. Before we get started, I'm going to give a quick overview of what Contentful is. Contentful is an API-first, customizable content management platform that helps you deliver scalable content to any platform. We're a global platform and we handle billions of API calls each day. And we also have a bunch of cool open source tools that help you as a developer build things faster. So we don't want to spend a lot of time on that. We want to get to the interview. Now on to our guests. Can you both introduce yourselves? Jeremy, would you like to go first?
Sure. Hello, I'm Jeremy Burns. I'm Senior Director of Engineering. Senior Director of Engineering is part of the leadership team of engineering. So I see my role very much as helping us make good decisions and empowering our teams to deliver great stuff. I'm responsible for two parts of our business. One is Content Platform, which is our core product, essentially. It's everything from the website that people interact with to do their content modeling, through to the APIs that manage and deliver that content, all the way through to the storage layer where we actually store the content ready for it to be delivered back out. And I'm also running the growth team. And the growth team is to do with customer acquisition, onboarding, engagement, upgrading through the plans, and so
on. Awesome. Thank you.
I think I go next. So, hi everybody. I'm Jigyasa. That's how you pronounce it. It's very literal. I am the Director of Software Engineering for Contentful. I've been here about 4 years. And currently, I'm supporting a group called Apps. So what we essentially do is work with the non-developer, non-technical persona that our product has. So think about content editors, release managers, publishers. So those are the people that we create solutions for. And if you've been following us at all, the two products that we released last year was Compose and Launch. That was from my product line. We're currently 3 teams strong and looking to grow.
Awesome. Thank you both. I'm really excited about our questions. So our first question is for you, Jigyasa. So when I am looking for an engineering team to join, I want to look for a place where we don't just push out code like an assembly line and we have a chance to grow ourselves as an engineer. Could you talk about how Contentful cultivates a culture of growth and learning on the engineering team?
Absolutely. So we actually kind of enforce that we have that culture in the sense that we don't just focus on the code you write, but all the aspects of product development. So we work really closely with product as engineering teams. So engineering team on the whole owns the solution that we push forward. So the product focuses on the what is the problem we're trying to solve, why should we solve it, what is the kind of customer that we're solving it for, whereas engineering and design kind of lead how to solve that problem. So what are the various solutions that are possible? They come up with a recommendation of a solution that we should pursue, and then go ahead and start the delivery. So I'd say that is very far away from the assembly line approach, where you just have stories written down for you when you're executing. So we like to get engineering super early involved, define the solution, define what's the best way forward, work with the product to define the scope. So that's obviously in the day-to-day. But I think we inculcate that it's a part of our culture, it's one of our core values, that we always keep growing. So, in case you want to try something else, we have this idea of guest sprints. So let's say you've been working in backend for a while, but Kubernetes has now got your fancy. We even support and encourage you to go for guest sprints. So you could show up in another team, work with them for a couple of weeks, see how it goes, and then come back, bring those learnings. So you're constantly encouraged to grow and learn within your team and within the organization.
Oh, that sounds awesome. I love the idea of trying out other teams. That is really cool. So the next question is for Jeremy. So I've always been an individual contributor on engineering teams, so I don't know much about how engineering leadership works, how technical communicated to the rest of the team.
Sure. So I think, as in most organizations, there's sort of a spectrum of decisions. There's ones that are taken really high up in the organization, which just impact the way that the organization functions, its direction, where it's heading. And there are also ones that individual contributors and people who are building code also have some influence over. So we do a lot of listening. We have empowered teams, everything that Jigyasa just talked about in terms of the teams being involved with what they're doing, what technology they use, how they're going to deliver a particular solution happens at one end. And then at the other end, things like, for example, right now, we're just reworking our engineering careers framework. That's been driven pretty much from the top. We took a lot of feedback from our individual contributors and our managers about what challenges we have to face, how we would like to solve those. And then we took it away. We've done a bunch of work in the background, and we now presented it back and said, right, how does this look? So we really try to work a lot on a lot of listening, because the people that work on our company are super important. If we're not listening to them, we're making a mistake. But at the same time, we as leaders need to lead. So there are times when we just need to stand up and say, this is a decision we've made, this is what we're going to do. But we spend a lot of time making sure that we're talking to everybody in the company about what's happening, what their opinion is, how can we reflect that.
Awesome. It's really nice to hear that it's like a collaborative thing and not just manager tells you and then you do it. So this next question is the one I'm most excited about, and either one of you can answer. So one thing I am super anxious about when I'm a developer on a team is like breaking production or introducing a bug or being on call and not knowing what to do. Could you talk about when something goes wrong, how does the team handle it?
Do you want to go first?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let me tell you so I've only been since December, so fortunately I've not seen many, but I can tell you about one that did happen. I won't go into the details, but there was something that was potentially quite serious, and we realised what was going on. And what impressed me was how everybody collaborated, got together. There was a Zoom call ongoing. Lots of people joined it, people with different perspectives, different abilities to find out where that problem was, how we might solve it. People ran away with little jobs to do and they came back. And it was a really, really collaborative experience. The nature of the problem meant it was a fairly long one. It took sort of 36 hours to properly run out, but not everyone was on the call for 36 hours, of course. But it's just a team effort, and then eventually it just got sorted out with a couple of takeaways. So that's my experience. Jigyasa, I'm not sure what you've found.
Yeah, sure. All right. So yes, I've been here for 4 years and I've seen my share of things having gone wrong. So one thing is absolutely true, Jeremy, what you noticed. Strive together is one of our core values, has always been, will always will be. And that is fundamental to how we work. So know this, you're never alone. If something does go wrong, if it's at a team level, you obviously have a team behind you. And I'd say that it doesn't even span a team. The engineering org is behind you. So you may not always be the most knowledgeable person on the topic, or as is often the case with engineering, a ripple effect happened that had nothing to do with what you did. So you can always, and you are encouraged to reach out to people who do know what went wrong. That said, incidents are also a big part of how engineering works, bound to happen. What we try to do is we have run books, which is essentially listing out the series of steps. And the first step is stay calm. I'm not even kidding. It says so there. So it says stay calm, and then, try and debug this, log in here, look at this report, look at this log. So you have these series of steps listed out clearly that you can follow to actually get to the root cause. That said, you won't just be pushed into on-call or on support from day one. We want to make sure that you're actually onboarded and you know what to do in these cases. So we even have you shadowing somebody who has been on call for a while, and just work with them to get a hang of it. And when you say you're ready, you're comfortable to jump in, that's when you actually jump in. And again, if the D-Day comes and you're absolutely clueless, more often than not in the 4 years, it has never happened that somebody was absolutely alone. You will get help. So I'd say not something. It's a part of our culture, and it's a part of engineering. And I think over the years we've kind of mastered the art of handling contingencies, building for contingencies.
I would add also they're terrific learning experiences, because at the moment you're on those calls, you see things from a completely different perspective, and you really learn, okay, that's important, that went wrong, this is how we solve it, this is how we prevent it. It's a great experience.
And the calls Jeremy is referring to is what we call postmortems. So after we resolve an incident, after everything is calm again, We always make a point that somebody owns a meeting where we actually define what happened, how can we prevent it from happening again, and all of that is dissected in detail so that we don't end up making the same mistake again.
Yeah, and also they're blameless. People talk about blameless
Yes.
post-mortems. We're not looking for fault. We're not looking for someone to blame and shout at. We're really just trying to say, what was it that went wrong? How can we prevent it? What can we learn from this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that sounded awesome. I think as an engineer, I'm like, oh, that definitely would feel relieving to like not only talk about the emotional part, like being calm and you're not going to get blamed, but also having checklists and being organized. I think is really really awesome to hear.
Mm-hmm.
So I have two like rapid fire questions for both of you. So the first one is, what is one of your favorite things about working at Contentful?
Go, Jeremy.
When I'm doing interviews with people, this is a question that they ask a lot. I think it's a bunch of things. I think, first of all, we have an awesome product, like a genuinely good product that's market leading. As a result, the business is super strong. We've done really, really well so far, and we're just scaling off the charts. So from a kind of organizational point of view, it's absolutely brilliant. Then I think that you need to pile into that the values, the 4 core values that we've got. What I say to people is it's not just a poster on the fridge in the kitchen that everyone walks past when they grab a coffee. It's 4 very short, very, very good values. But more importantly, everybody knows them and also they're lived. Everyone from the founder all the way through to every engineer, you see them lived minute by minute. And as a result, you've got a fantastic culture with really good people. That's what I enjoy.
All right, my turn. So I'd say the absolute favorite and what has kept me here for this long is the people. So, my peers, the folks that I've worked with over the years, everybody, and I'm still getting to learn so much. Every meeting that I attend, I end up learning something new. And that is the biggest driver for me. And especially, if you've been here 4 years and still you can say that, that's not all the organizations. So that's one of the biggest motivators, that I can still grow, I can still learn. There's place for personal development, for professional development. That's my first absolute favorite thing. And the second is that it's never a dull moment. And that doesn't mean that we're always firefighting, but we always have interesting challenges. And I think one thing we do really well is empower people to not just think about problems, but dive in, write a one-pager, and start proposing changes, start making things better. And that's really nice because no organization is perfect. We don't claim to be one. But if you have that autonomy to kind of go ahead and say, I don't like this, I want to change this, and this is how I propose we do it, maybe it gets shot down, and that's fair. But at least having that drive and autonomy to be able to do that, that's really crucial, again, to your development. So that's the second most favorite thing I have for Contentful.
Awesome, thank you. And my last question is, do you have any tips for engineers interested in working at Contentful?
Shall I go first again?
Go for it.
So I think it's well worth doing a little bit of research on the company and the product. The one thing you won't discover on our website is the number of massive brands that now depend on our product. We choose not to put that on the site, but I would encourage you to go and do a bit of research and find out exactly what problems we solve for our customers. I'd also encourage you to read the core values, because in the interview process, we'll be looking for those. We want to bring in really good people. We understand that we can grow people's skills, we can give them knowledge, we can do all of those things and give them experience. But what we're really looking for is really good people, and they are completely defined by our values. And in the process of being interviewed, you'll see that. And when you begin to work here, you'll experience it every hour. So I would encourage you to research the company and also research our core values.
And I'd add just one more tip to that, is that you have to be customer obsessed and you have to be product obsessed. So at some organizations, and this is not on you, maybe the way you've been working so far, it is sometimes that there's just one technical lead and one product lead, and they hash things out together, and then you get the stories, and that's your job. We work slightly differently here. Like I said in the beginning, we want you to be involved with the customers. We want you listening in on customer calls. We want you interested in the product. We want you solving problems, not just writing code. So, maybe have that self filter. Am I interested in going beyond just writing code? If you are, then please do apply. We're looking for you. But if for whatever reason, and there's no right or wrong, but if you would rather just keep your heads down and code, maybe we're not the best place. So we are looking for product developers, not coders, let's just say.
And I think if you do what Jigyasa described, you'll make a difference. That's one of the good things about being here. What you actually do makes a difference to customers, to your product, to your peers, to the company. You really do have an impact.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I want to thank both of you for taking the time to speak with me today. And for anybody watching, thank you for watching. I hope you learned about the engineering team, and we'd love to work with you. So please check out our open engineering positions at contentful.com/careers. And yeah, that is it for the interview. Thank you so much for both of you for joining.
Thank you
Thanks
very
for having
much.
us.
Thank you.